introduce a new chilling series of classic ghost stories.
There is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man.
Throughout human history, people have reported seeing dark, shadowy, human-like figures stalking from afar.
Something forcefully took Dennis Martin off that hill, and nobody will talk about it.
Every fifth call I go on, I end up running across a set of stairs.
Hello?
Have you checked the children?
By the end of the war, the Americans started to realize that the Germans had fantastic technology.
In 1989, Al Bielek came forward to reveal his participation in the astonishing Philadelphia experiment, and that he had survived time warping.
Welcome. How is everybody doing? Welcome back to the channel. Looks like the chat is not on the screen. I want to figure that out before we start up here. Let me get on camera. All right, so the chat is not showing up. Hey, One Step, how's everybody doing? Thought we'd have a little hangout, maybe an hour, maybe a little less, but just to hang out and shoot the shit. We'll talk about which topic won this week's poll. We'll go over whatever a couple things that we may bring up on the Sunday show tomorrow. And if I have time, we're going to talk about this weird case of a doomsday mom with a couple missing children. It's been in the headlines, so I figured we'd talk about it. Her name's Lori Vallow. She was from Idaho, then she went to Hawaii. She has 2 kids missing. They peeled some layers back, find out she's in something called Preparing a People, some weird little cult that she's in. So it's a fun little topic. I figured that'd be good for the show. But I do want to have the chat on the screen, so I'm going to try to figure that out real quick. Okay. Saving the settings. All right, this might just take me a second. It's weird that it doesn't just automatically do it, but we can figure this out. We've done it before. Just bear with me a second. Just in my OBS settings here. Hey Ruth, how you doing? Good to see you. Width at 6. Just want it to be the right size. Oh, we'll fix it if it's not. If it doesn't show up, I don't know if I can fix it while I'm on here. We'll see. I'm going to launch it and see if it works. What can you do? There we go. Woo! Look at me fixing shit over here. Tech guru, tech genius in the building. Nice. I like when things actually work out for a second. Hey, Just K, good to see you. Yeah, I'm glad I was able to do it live as well. Obviously, I could have just took the night off, prepped the Sunday show, not even told you guys what won, and left it a surprise. But I figured I have the time. I had like an hour. I was already reading up on this one story that was kind of interesting. Figured you guys would find it interesting as well. So figured I'd just come on and share it with you. Why keep it all to myself? If you're new to the channel, welcome. We appreciate you subscribing. We're almost up to 1,000 subs already over here. Very quick. very quick ascension to 1,000. So I'm very happy about that. And I thank everybody that subbed and anybody that came from my other channels. I see it's a lot of familiar faces, but there are new faces in here and new people that have found us just from Spooky Sunday. I've had people reach out to me. Hey, don't really know what you're talking about in your other stuff, but I like this. And then I have people from the main channel. Yeah, I'm not really into the Spooky Sunday, but, do your thing. So it's kind of cool how everything worked out. Bergie, Doug, UFC, Just K, Pale Horse. The only person I don't recognize so far is Paul's Deep, but I think he was here for the last Spooky Sunday. If there is anybody new here that only knows me from this channel, just say that that's how you found that. You could stop by. Just doing a little hangout here. Nothing crazy. Have one story, maybe a couple if we have time. First, we'll start off with the vote this week. So the results are in, and Unsolved Mysteries just blew everything out of the water. I think everybody loves the show Unsolved Mysteries, and it won 48%. Missing 411 had 27%. Serial Killers, which was in the lead in the beginning, just took a dip. The lowest spot, 24%. So I know people love those topics, and they'll be on future polls, so it's not a problem. We'll get to them eventually. Serial killers will be a fun one because there's so many famous cases, so many ones where they haven't found the killer, so many famous ones that are just in the history books, from the Son of Sam, Charles Manson, which is obviously a deep dive in itself. Jeffrey Dahmer. I mean, you can just go on and on. Missing 411 is obviously the book series by David Paulides. We did one episode on that already, but I figured with the new equipment, we'd probably jump into a new one. And Unsolved Mysteries can be literally anything that's a mystery, a history mystery, an unsolved murder mystery, really anything. That's what makes Unsolved Mysteries such a broad topic and a fun one to do. Yes, Fate of Kings, a broad theme. Speaking of themes, Fate of Kings is on the intro to this show, so that's awesome. Yeah, so Unsolved Mysteries can be anything. I'll actually have a list of stuff to pull up, and we can kind of brainstorm a couple together. Now, it's not like I'm having you, like Owen, write the show for me, but if anybody has any suggestions for Unsolved Mysteries that they like or that they know about, you can just say it in the chat or at me in the chat and let me know if you have any suggestions. I'll tell you what I had in mind, but obviously tomorrow is when I do most of the prep, and that's when I'll be putting the list together. But there's so many. I mean, we could go from a murder mystery to things like the Bermuda Triangle, to the Georgia Guidestones, to old couples that get harassed, anything, any topic. So it doesn't have to be one genre. I think I had a link with like a list of 30, and I'll read through a couple of them that I had in mind. Madeleine McCann, great topic. Yeah, great topic. Rampant, did Tesla murder his pigeon? No, but I saw some people glued some MAGA hats to some pigeons. That was a really dumb and stupid idea. I don't know if you guys saw that story. Some activist group glued little tiny MAGA hats to pigeons in a protest to Donald Trump. I don't understand what the protest was, but it obviously backlashed because it came out as animal cruelty to glue little hats onto pigeons. So that was just a weird story I saw today. Yes, pigeons. Yes, pigeons. I don't know what the activism was behind that, but I'm sure they're just much more smarter than me, and it's just way over my head. It was just a really dumb idea, I think. All right. Amelia Earhart, classic one. Georgia Guidestones was one I was thinking about. There's some famous heists, like some famous paintings that have been heisted that I was thinking about adding. I want some like kind of obscure ones that don't, have a million shows on them already. Ciphers and things like that are always fun. Some of the famous codes, Zodiac Killer. Someone was telling me about the Tau hum. It's like a hum that goes through all these cities and people hear it. It's like a low frequency. Some people were referencing the Phoenix Lights and other UFO ones. Maybe. I think the story of DB Cooper is really interesting. Let me see if you guys are coming up with anything in the chat. Was Bernie the Zodiac Killer? Maybe. You never know. Could be anything. One Step says he's dropping Turpin Height 451 after Davey's stream. Very nice. I like it. One Step's video on Queen of the World was fucking hilarious. I don't think he's related to Ryan Cooper. Maybe. DB Cooper's the guy that jumped out of the plane with all the money, and they never found his body. It's a mystery that a lot of people talk about. There's the Torrid Man that we talked about on the last stream. So like mysteries along those lines, I think are what we want to do. But anybody can shout any out throughout the stream, and I'll try to write them down and remember them. Valiant Thor. All right, now you guys are just getting wild. Yeah, I think Ted Cruz. Was it the Zodiac or was it the Ted Cruz's father? I didn't understand that whole thing, but memes get out there. Anything happens. Lucky X said, I thought they found DB Cooper. No, they found like a couple things of cash that I don't even know if they could connect to the cash from the plane, and like maybe a strap from a parachute. But no, they never found him that I know of. There was rumors that some informant or some FBI agent said he had details that a former FBI agent, but there wasn't any concrete evidence that it was him. It was just a kind of like a whistleblower story, a conspiracy. So we don't know that 100%. All right. Cops covering for Robert Pickton. I don't know that one. I'll have to look into it. Michael Jordan's dad getting killed. Now there's an obscure one. Over a gambling debt, you think? That was a wild time. What was that, like 95-ish? I remember that. I remember because, I would have been really young. Obviously watched basketball when I was a little kid. I don't know if anybody's going to watch the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight tonight. I plan to. Getting together with a girlfriend of mine to get the fight. It's not actually on it's like on ESPN and on DAZN. I would definitely suggest getting it on ESPN. DAZN's website is just a little ratchet. I don't really enjoy their layouts or their coverage or their announcers. I think ESPN will have the better product there. So Andy says he's gonna get it. Rich, yeah. Oh, dude, the first fight was so good. And like it gives you a good feeling because when boxing is great or when MMA is great and the fights are awesome, like you can really just get in your own world and watch it. It's like you really are intensely watching this thing, and boxing has been missing that in the heavyweight division. I know this has nothing to do with Spooky Sunday, but it's just a hangout. Boxing's been missing that. The biggest fighter they had over the last decade, marketing-wise, would have been Floyd Mayweather, and you basically knew what you were getting when you were going into the fight, a dominant performance, flashy at times, but for the most part, you didn't have these, big-name heavyweights, both undefeated, a rematch and still undefeated, a great fight where most people think Tyson Fury won it technically, but gets, knocked down at the end in dramatic fashion, gets up, and that basically evened the whole fight out. So it was great. Who do I have? I got Fury, but I am very concerned that he's been wearing sunglasses the last couple of days, and he was cut in his last fight, and there would have been no reason for him to wear the hoodie over his head and the sunglasses. I think that cut might have got reopened in training or something. If Deontay Wilder lands on that cut with his power and it opens up, I just hope it doesn't stop the fight. I hope it's a good fight. And if Tyson stays clean and the cut doesn't bother him, then I got Tyson by decision. But I think they are both going to be trying to go for the knockout because Tyson Fury learned in the last fight he could outbox him for literally 10 rounds and still get bombed on and it end up being a draw. And you can never count out Tyson. You can never count out Deontay Wilder with that power. He knocked him down. Basically, any other fighter, I think, would be out for the count in the 12th round. So to carry his power into the 12th round like that is absolutely insane. And I think, I'm just excited to watch it. I don't have any dog in the fight. If you asked me to break it down, I would say Tyson Fury, but I just want another great fight. I want no stoppages. I want, a real stoppage. I don't want any like cuts or any kind of low blows or any weird shit. These two seem like they respect each other. They both seem like good guys. We know Tyson Fury is woke to certain things. If you guys don't know, he had a little rambling a couple of years ago talking about the Zionist in control. So Tyson Fury knows. He knows what's going on. And I'm sure Deontay Wilder, by the people that pays him his checks, knows what's going on. But yeah. Oh, you got Felder in UFC. I don't like Felder, to be honest with you, and not just because you said it, Lucky Hex, and you're annoying. I just don't like him. He's like a wannabe McGregor. Yes, Tyson knows. It's just going to be a good fight. I just want a good fight. I want to hang out, just have a beer, hang out with this girl, and just enjoy the fight. We've gotten a couple UFC fights, and I invited a couple other friends over, and we're probably going to do the same thing tonight. Invite another couple over that we're friends with, and just watch it. Just have a good time, relax. Someone said, I love Fury, but that bad cut, plus him changing trainers, I don't know. I think he changed trainers because he wanted a different approach for power punching this time, is what I heard. He seems to have the boxing skills. So I think he wanted to train with people that could really get him that power shot. I think Deontay Wilder is his heaviest, and it's like 230 or something like that. He weighed in the last fight under 220 pounds. I mean, that's very small for a heavyweight. Maybe even 213 pounds, something I heard. I don't know. Rogan talks about it all the time. He loves it. And this fight, I think he's 230, and Tyson Fury is 272. That's crazy. So that is a fucking... But he carries the power even at that weight. Like, no matter what Tyson Fury weighed, you would still say Deontay Wilder, even at 200 pounds, packs a bigger punch. No, this is not a boxing podcast, but, what are you going to do? How was your day with Sing Along Bear? I think she's still on the bus. At fight time, Wilder's going to be 265. I don't know. I thought he weighed in at 232. That'd be quite the blow up. He's like, he reminds me of the body style of like Thomas Hearns, but with a way more jacked up shoulder mass. None of them look, it doesn't look like it's affecting them. Like, it looks like Tyson put on the weight well, and it looks like Wilder just stays around a certain weight, but wanted a couple other pounds, probably because the last fight with Tyson hanging on him, it probably prevented him from getting off some shots. But I think that's enough boxing talk for tonight. Not enough, but for this show, I think that's enough. I'm glad to hear a lot of people are into this. Someone says, damn, Davey, this is a spot-on analysis. I really like the fight. I don't know much about the whole boxing landscape. I just know specifically these two fighters and a couple other fights that I'm interested in. Oh, I missed what... I'm trying to keep up with it. Bad habits from having explosion in his hands. Yeah, it's weird though. Like, you got to put it like that. Like, what if you had that kind of power? Like, it's something like, it's ungodly, man. It's a crazy power punch. What is he? 43? He's like, whatever it is, 42, 43-0. And every opponent except for Tyson Fury, he's knocked out. That's insane, man. That's an insane record. That's an insane thing to say. Once I fought Golden Gloves for 3 years. I'm obsessed with boxing. Did not know that, buddy. That's a cool little thing to pull out. That's awesome, man. Throwing the gloves up. Yeah, boxing's great. When boxing's awesome, everything else is kind of awesome. You know what I mean? Like 90s, we had great boxing, but it kind of, for me, I lost interest in it. I don't think it was as great as past, previous decades, except for a few shining lights. Like Roy Jones was fun to watch, and then Floyd Mayweather, and you had some great, smaller weight classes fighting that were pretty exciting back when HBO had boxing. But now you look at it, HBO doesn't even have boxing anymore. Like, you go on there on demand, like you could maybe watch some old fights, but I don't even think they have a whole setup anymore. Yes, Pac-Man for sure. But the Pac-Man and Mayweather fight happened way too late. That was like 6 years past its prime. Used to watch the Klitschko's, Presley says. Yeah, that was who Tyson Fury took the belt off, if I'm not mistaken. Vladimir? Or was it Vitaly? I don't know. It might have been Vitaly. Yeah, I remember watching them when they were coming up and really on top of the sport. All right. We got our boxing out of our system. Ooh, Costazu. He was the one that, I remember the name, Koysta. Zab Judah, right? He was the one that fought Zab Judah and knocked him down, and Zab tried to get back up really quick and then fell back down. I'm pretty sure that was Costazu. I just remember the highlight of him like trying to get up and like point his finger at him and falling back down. Embarrassing. I don't know who would win in a fight between Tourette's Bear and Sing-Along Bear. I don't know. I will tell you, I think Tourette's Bear is a very nice boy, and we shouldn't mess with him. Yeah, that was okay. So it was him. Yeah, that was a fucking classic. That might have to. We might have to just watch that real quick before we get into this story. And the story that I'm going to be talking about is just this weird. The major players in Timeline and the disappearance of J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan. Now, I don't know much about this story, so I could be off on it. But it centers around a woman named Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. And kids are missing. Still can't find them. They ended up arresting the woman and putting her on like $5 million bail. And when you look further into it, she was involved in this group called Preparing a People. It's like a doomsday prepper group, or, they're calling it a cult. We'll just call it whatever we want. But, very weird. Oh, so One Step is premiering at 8 p.m. All right, well, I'll try to tell the story. I'll try to get through that story quick enough. I didn't know it was premiering at 8. I don't want to step on the premiere. I was wondering if the Zab Judah, it's the first one that comes up. I just need the knockout. I just need the knockdown.
This round was Costazu's clearly.
It was a straight. Yeah, straight right.
And ending strong. Down he goes. A right hand. He's in trouble.
He's in real trouble.
It's over. JJ stops the fight in the second round.
Costazu's clearly evening things up.
And ending strong. Down he goes. A right hand.
Oof.
He's in trouble.
He's in real trouble.
It's over.
Now, if he would have just took the knockdown, stayed relaxed, the ref would have allowed him to get back up, obviously. But if you go down, get up quick, and go back down, they can't allow you to continue the fight. Even if you have all your composure about you, it just doesn't look good. They can't allow it. That was a crazy moment, though. You can kind of take it into the Tyson Fury fight. He took that knockdown, was out for a few seconds. I mean, he was literally dead cold out. Woke up at about the 6-7 second mark and got up slowly. They're going to give you more leeway if you take your full time. You try to get up too much, sometimes your legs aren't under you, you're still scrambled, your equilibrium's off. It's not a good idea just for staying in the fight, let alone trying to just let the referee let you continue. Yeah, he did sit up like the Undertaker. It's just a very compelling fight. There's something about Tyson Fury that's special. There's something about Wilder, his power, that's special. And the fact that, like, they talk shit, but you can tell they have a respect for each other. Just everything about it is great for boxing and great for us people that like to be entertained by things every once in a while. And pretty much the only sports I watch now are MMA and boxing. So, okay. I don't know if this is going to be wrapped up by 8 p.m. One Step. If it's 19 minutes away to tell this story quick. I'll try to get through it quick, though, and then I'll send people over your way to watch your Turpin Height 451 vid. How long is the video? It says you're good. No, I know. I'm just wondering how long the video is. Shooting the shit, man. Yeah, I mean this isn't gonna be crazy. This isn't gonna be crazy long. I just wanted to hang out with you guys for a little bit, and if anybody has any suggestions, the winner of the I'll keep mentioning this. The winner of the poll was Unsolved Mysteries. So literally any unsolved mystery, from murder to paranormal to psychological to just crazy mystery, you can put the suggestion right in the chat, or you can leave a comment on the video after, and I will go through them. And if I happen to come across one, I will add it to the things that I'll take a deeper dive on for the live stream tomorrow. There's a lot of Escape from Alcatraz. We said the Zodiac Killer, Bugsy Siegel's murder. There's so many different ones. Houdini. Someone was telling me this thing called Judge Crater, Lizzie Borden, Jimmy Hoffa. I mean, it's on and on. We said like the Bermuda Triangle, a bunch of different shit. And then we'll pick a couple classic ones from the TV show itself, some of their most famous cases, because you can't have a stream called Unsolved Mysteries without referencing Unsolved Mysteries. But you got to be careful with copyright with that. So I'm going to try my best. So the major players in timeline in the disappearance of J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan. Police seem no closer to finding 7-year-old J.J. Vallow and 17-year-old Tylee Ryan than they were when this story began months ago. Since that time, the story has gained international attention, and it's taken twists and turns involving a purported cult, dead spouses, delusions of divinity, and preparing for the end of the world. Despite all the angles and ever-growing number of people related to the case, the fact remains essentially the same as when it first was announced. The 2 children remain missing, and the parents, Lori Vallow, but her husband's name is Daybell, husband Chad Daybell, refused to disclose their whereabouts to police. Both have been named persons of interest in the disappearance of the children. Law enforcement is also investigating the deaths of Daybell's previous respected spouses. That's why I don't like that they use that last name. Lori Vallow's previous spouses, Charles Vallow and Tammy Daybell. So each of their former spouses died. These 2 people that are married with the missing children. Lori Vallow, her 2 former spouses died, and the husband, his former spouses died. And they're both suspects in those cases. So they got some bodies on them. So they put together like a little interactive timeline on this one, and then we'll go a little further into the case, and I'll tell you about the group she belongs to and everything. I don't know if anybody's looked into this case at all. It came across my radar, and I figured for the hangout, this is kind of a cool little story to tell. And it's like still ongoing right now. It's I saw it in the news like 2 days ago, but I guess it's been going on for months. Are these the people that fled to Hawaii? It is. They did flee to Hawaii. I think we're going to get to that, though. So the Rexburg Police Department announced their search for JJ and Tylee on December 20th, 2019. The following day, investigators announced their mother, Lori Daybell, and her new husband, Chad Daybell, as persons of interest in their disappearance. The couple married within weeks of the death of Chad Daybell's previous wife, and Lori Daybell's brother, Alex Cox, shot and killed her former husband, Charles Vallow, last summer. Okay. So in 2006, Lori marries this guy, Charles Vallow, in Las Vegas. After she divorced her 3rd husband, Joseph Ryan Jr., the father of Tylee. So she's had 5 husbands. In 2014, the Vallows moved to Hawaii. Charles and Lori Vallow moved their family to the island of Kauai in Hawaii before returning to the mainland a couple of years later. In 2014, they also adopt JJ. In 2015, Chad and Tammy Daybell moved their family to Salem from Springsville, Utah. So they moved into Idaho. In May 2015, and then Chad and Tammy moved their family to Salem after hearing Utah after he hears a voice saying they need to move to the area. So that's your first sign of this is Lori's husband now, Chad Daybell. He moves his family to Idaho because he heard a voice telling him he needed to move. And you'll start to see as this goes on, they claim that they are gods. At least Lori does. They claim to have a divinity. They claim to be able to hear things. They're part of this group called Preparing a People, which is like a, quote, spiritual movement that's about prophesizing and preparing yourself for doomsday events. So it gets pretty weird. In April, Lori's ex-husband died. Her third husband, Joseph Ryan, died of a, quote, heart attack. I'm pretty sure she had that body cremated. Now, I've been trying to find these. December 2018, Chad and Lori make a podcast appearance. They first appeared together on Preparing a People's podcast, quote, Time to Warrior Up. I've tried to look everywhere for this, and it seems like the Preparing a People have removed this from their website. Plus, it sucks to say Preparing a People's Podcast. Preparing a People's Podcast. It's too many P's. February 2019 to March 2019, Lori vanishes. Family says Lori disappeared for 58 days, leaving the kids with family members. It remains unclear where she was. That's a long time to be missing with children. In 2019, Charles Vallow filed for divorce from her and says Lori threatened to kill him and stole more than $35,000. He later changed his mind, wanting to make the marriage work, which was one of the worst mistakes he ever made. He should have just stuck to the divorce. Lori's niece asked husband for a divorce. That's really not, we don't need to get into that. So the guy that wanted divorce but had second thoughts was shot and killed. Charles is reportedly shot and killed by Lori's brother. This happened at her rental home in Chandler, Arizona. Lori left that home shortly after. And then she married this new guy, Chad Daybell, who seems to be an author of these prophecy books. So the main two people are Lori and Chad Daybell, and the two missing children. JJ is last seen at his school in September 23rd to be exact, in Rexburg, Idaho. His sister, Tylee Ryan, is also last seen in September. So, I mean, that's the last time anyone's seen them. They've been missing since, and they still don't have any answers of where these kids are. On October 1st, so a week after this happens, Lori Vallow rents a storage unit. Rents a 10x10. Surveillance video shows she and a man believed to be her brother, Alex Cox, the same guy that shot her ex-husband, visiting the unit several times over months of October to November. Items are often placed in the unit, then removed days later. Tammy Daybell, the wife of Chad Daybell, says she was shot with a paintball gun at her home in Salem, Idaho. The masked assailant ran away before deputies arrived. This is such a convoluted story, but I'm trying to keep it to the main players. So Tammy Daybell, the former wife of Chad Daybell, dies at her home in Salem. Officials initially thought she died of natural causes, but now are calling the death suspicious. So these people, Chad and Lori, all of their spouses, their previous spouses, both of them died under mysterious circumstances. Now their kids are missing, and they're the main suspects. That's basically where we need to be at. Yes, a family that kills together, sticks together. Scary looking woman. Oh, here she is. I want to say she's scary looking. That's not really too scary looking. We've seen scarier. Oh, it looks like Glitchmod found the channel. He wants to tell me that I'm gay. He'll spurg out for a little bit, but he'll tuck her out eventually. What's up, Glitchmod? Good to see you. I thought you were on assignment. Case of the missing Idaho kids, a timeline and the disappearance. We won't go through the whole timeline again. We kind of just did that. I'll just try to get any information that I missed. So on December 19th, Lori and Chad Daybell were named persons of interest in the children's disappearance. Neither have been arrested or charged with a crime, and both deny any wrongdoing. The Rexburg police announced their search for JJ and Tylee, adding that the FBI had joined the investigation. Later in December, an attorney for Chad and Lori issued a statement on their behalf saying, Chad Daybell was a loving husband and has the support of his children in this matter. Lori Daybell is a devoted mother and resents assertions to the contrary. Of course she does. So they're seizing items from their home. They're taking their computers, cell phones, journals, documents, medications. Child Protective Services comes in January, late January, on behalf of JJ and Tylee. Lori Vallow is served with an order, a city in Hawaii, by the Kauai Police Department. The order gives Lori until January 30th to physically produce the children to Idaho Department of Health. Lori's fifth husband, Chad Daybell, was with her in Hawaii when the order was served. So they're basically like, all right, bitch, your kids have been missing for 3 months. You need to produce your children or we're going to move along with charging you for the disappearance. Like, cut the shit. We're not taking the you don't know where your children are answer anymore. And you need this to look out for the best interest of the child sometimes. I know some of these laws are evasive and we have to worry about that, but when you have two people that have been around and involved in this many weird things and their children aren't missing and their children are missing and they're not with them and they're not, complying with you, you need to have some kind of recourse to step in and say, okay, you have to produce the children. Like, you literally have to produce them right now or we're charging you. So she fails to produce the children to the Idaho department. And the grandmother even came out and made an appearance saying, show us the kids and end this craziness. It's not hard to do. And then February 10th, news breaks that Tylee's cell phone was found. One of the children's cell phone was found. The phone was allegedly discovered in her mother's possession in Hawaii, of course. February 20th, Lori is arrested in Kauai and charged with 2 counts of felony desertion of a child, misdemeanor charges of resisting and obstructing an officer, solicitation of a crime, and contempt, according to the prosecuting attorney, and she's held on $5 million bond. And the children are still missing, and they're asking for help. 1-800-THE-LOST or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children are putting out statements to try to help find the children. We'll get into a little bit of the doomsday stuff. Case of missing children tied to doomsday beliefs and 3 deaths. So I have to scroll through the article a little bit because they recap the whole case. Family members used to describe Lori Vallow as an attentive mother who had her kids' best interest at heart. But that was before she reportedly declared herself a god sent to prepare the world for an imminent apocalypse, before 3 untimely deaths of people surrounding her, and before her children went missing. If somebody 2 years ago would have said that this was going to happen with Lori, I never would have believed it, JJ's grandfather Larry Woodcock said in a statement when he announced a $20,000 reward for information about the children. There's a timeline change with Lori, and it started a few years ago. Some of the timeline is detailed in a newly released court document from investigators in rural Idaho. The document paints a bleak picture, with police saying Vallow repeatedly lied about her children's whereabouts, their belongings had been found in an abandoned storage unit, and there has been no sign of them in months. Again, she's on a $5 million bail. Tylee disappeared first, but they both were missing by the end of September. The Vallow's marriage had been crumbling. Charles had filed for a divorce, saying in court documents that he feared she would kill him and that she developed strange, doomsday cult-like beliefs, reportedly calling herself a god assigned to carry out the work of the 144,000 at Christ's second coming in July 2020. So she has all the answers. She thinks Christ is coming back July 2020, and she needs to be ready because she has work to do. She's assigned to carry out the work. Cox told police the shooting was in... Okay, hold on. they just added this part in. Vallow didn't begin in September. Her husband, Charles Vallow, was shot and killed in July at the family's suburban Phoenix home by her brother, Alex Cox. Cox told the police the shooting was in self-defense, that Charles Vallow had come at him with a baseball bat. Police investigated, but the case didn't go far before Cox died of unknown causes in his Arizona home in December. So her ex-husband is shot by her brother, and then the brother dies of mysterious circumstances in December. So just people like just dropping like flies around her. I'm just going to keep pulling up some articles here, kind of go through the case. Doomsday Cult mom Lori Vallow arrested in Hawaii. We got that one.
$5 million.
Lori Vallow appeared in court after Idaho prosecutors handed her
And I actually have that channel, That Chapter. He did a kind of a quick breakdown on this, so we might just watch part of his video since he has he has some of the podcast screenshots of how they explain themselves, and we'll get to that.
5 criminal charges. Her attorney tried to get the bail lowered to $10,000, finding that 3 of the charges were misdemeanors. Lori not pleased when the judge didn't budge. Now, she plans to fight her extradition. Even though Lori is behind bars, her 2 children are still missing. Her new husband, Chad Daybell, sat in the crowd. And according to court paperwork, the 2 have been working together to make sure JJ and Tylee are never found. In late November, Rexburg police went to Lori's townhome. She wasn't there, but Chad and her brother Alex Cox were. It's important to note Alex is the one who killed Lori's husband, Charles.
Crazy ass people, man. Heavy.com always has a good little synopsis of everything going on. They're not good for like the full deep dive, but they usually give you kind of like 5 quick things about what's going on. We already know about the disappearance and why they were questioned and why she was eventually arrested, not producing the children. We know about her brother shooting her former husband. Lori Vallow was a podcaster affiliated with a religious group called Preparing a People, had a first husband who also died young. She was affiliated with a group called Preparing the People. Its website says, helping to prepare the people of this earth for the second coming of Jesus Christ. Preparing a People has posted this statement on its website. So if you go to their website right now, they actually, it actually has the look of like a Heaven's Gate type website, like the old school, looks like it was made on a computer in 1998. No graphics at all. You got a little moving water on the sands behind it. But like me, a tech retard, could make this website. Like, this is terrible. This is unauthorized levels of simplicity, what we're looking at here. But actually on their website, everything is scrubbed and it's only a statement about this case now. They say, oh, we're just a small multimedia company. We're not a cult. We're just a fun group. Yet they scrubbed literally every link from their website and every podcast that she was on. And they say Chad Daybell was an author and began publishing over 20 years ago under the name of Spring Creek Book Company. He spoke at some of the Preparing a People events, but had no ownership of it. So they're just distancing themselves from this case completely. They don't want anything to do with it. And his ex-wife was a popular librarian, initially believed to have perished under natural causes, but they're taking another look into that since the death of her and the death of Lori's ex-husband was around the same time, and then they end up being together 3 weeks later. That's what you would call suspicious. Chad Daybell is the author of an LDS-oriented books, and some people who know Lori allege she was influenced by a cult-like mentality. I don't know what this is. Okay, that's the kid that's missing. Kay Vallow Woodcock posted on Facebook that JJ Vallow was her grandson. Just a nice post about him, how he has so much more life to live. The post alleges, she eventually deserted my brother and JJ for 2.5 months earlier this year. Charles did his best to save the marriage, of which she had no interest. On July 11, 2019 in Arizona, Charles went to Lori's home, which he paid for, to get JJ and take to school. She and her brother, Alex, were there. Alex shot Charles twice in the chest, killing him, claiming self-defense. 4 people were there that day. Lori, Alex, and these 2 missing children. It's crazy. Should I know what LDS books are? Do you guys know what that means? LDS. Why do I know that term, but I can't think of it? According to his website, Daybell has worked in the publishing business for the past 2 decades, written 25 books. The Times of Turmoil series is a sequel to Chad's best-selling Standing in Holy Places series, which continues to find success in both the LDS bookstores. Latter-day Saints, duh. I was like, why can't I just, why is that on my tip of my tongue? Yeah. I got it. Jeez. I was like, that sounds familiar. I usually just hear Latter-day Saints, though. I didn't know they were abbreviating it. I didn't know it was so common. Yeah, Mormon. Yeah. Okay. Chad is also known for his other novels, such as Chasing Paradise and the Emma trilogy, as well as his nonfiction books for the youth, including The Aaronic Priesthood and the Youth of Zion. He and his wife, Tammy, also create the Tiny Talk series for primary children. So this guy's just selling books all over the place. Yes, that was a children's book called, one more time, I'll get to that. Called The Aaronic Priesthood and the Youth of Zion. For children. Very nice. I'll get to that chapter video in a second. There's not like much more to the story. I don't know if there's any other weird details that I really have to point out. Family of Lori Daybell details Doomsday Mom descent into cult after her kids go missing. So basically, she like really got into this guy, really got into his teachings, into his books. Shortly after she starts like really getting into it, she has allegedly her brother shoot her husband. His wife mysteriously dies. They end up together. Then the kids go missing shortly after that. So you could break it down to any cult activities you want, but this sounds like 2 adults that wanted to be together. So they were going to do anything, and anybody that was in their way was going to get snuffed out. And it looks like these... I doubt they're hiding the kids. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't seem like a likely scenario. I'd be worried that these kids have passed on. I don't want to make that allegation without having the evidence, but what other reason or where could they possibly be at this point? You're talking about 3-4 months. These kids have not been seen. In 2020, that's pretty rare. They do have a podcast. Like I said, it's literally wiped from the Apple Store. It's wiped from the Google Store. I tried to get the episodes because I wanted to hear how this lady sounded. I'm sure some audio will emerge, but I can't find any right now. I searched YouTube for like events at their church, and they look to have a couple up there with full sermons, 2-hour people preaching about prophecies and whatnot. This is from Insider. What is preparing the people? According to his website, its a mission is to prepare the people of this earth for the second coming of Jesus. Following the chain of mysterious events Vallow and Daybell have left in their wake, the organization associated with preparing a people, called Color My Media, has attempted to distance themselves from the mysterious couple. They said it's not a group, it's not a cult or something for people to join, but has educational lecture events that can be attended or watched on video. The company denied any involvement with the missing children. Well, of course they're gonna. What else are they gonna say? Yeah, we're a cult. Yeah, we know all about those kids. Of course, they're just gonna be like, well, they're actually not technically, aligned with us, so we're just gonna disavow. Like I said, the relatives raised concerns about this group. Daybell had spoken at several Preparing a People events, and he and Vallow had appeared together on episodes of the organization's podcast where they discussed insights from his 2 near-death experiences and his, quote, visionary gift. So he's one of these people. He can see things. He has visions. It just hits him, and he sees things, and he goes, he blacks out, and he has these prophecies that come. It always happens this way with these, these modern day woo whoop type people. It's just, I can't explain it. I just get hit, and I start having a vision. Write this down quick. They're fleeting. They're fleeting visions. The podcast episode is no longer available to stream online. You have to do a pretty good job to wipe that out completely online. I'm guessing a lot of people didn't know about this. That's why it's not saved, but I'd really like to get my hands on that one episode that they were both on. This was like right in the height of all this stuff going on. Their spouse is dying, the kid's going missing, and they're out there doing a podcast together. Very odd. Now, there's people claiming that the Chad guy is not, he's not involved. He was actually wanting to get out of this relationship, but he's involved now. You mess with a crazy woman, you get rid of your spouse, she gets rid of hers. You're in a pact for life, my friend. Where Lori and Chad are now, she got arrested, so that's where she is. Mom of 2 missing kids said she was a god, threatened to kill husband, divorce papers show. So they just have evidence that she threatened her husband 1,000,000 times and that she thought she was a god here to do work.
A UI of 2019, which is also suspicious.
So this is that chapter. I'll give you guys a link to this. We'll watch a little bit of it, though, because he always does a good job putting stuff together.
Daybell and Lori Vallow are currently sorta on the run from the police after the mysterious disappearance of Lori's 2 children, 17-year-old Tylee and 7-year-old Joshua. The kids? Well, they haven't been seen since September 2019. Chad and Lori have repeatedly lied about their location, and they're now considered persons of interest. So, we're off to just a great start here. But let's go back and get into the whole shebang. Start with Lori's backstory, and then we'll get into old chatty Chad. Lori was born in 1973. She has been married 3 times. That's including her current marriage to Chad Daybell. Her first 2 hubbies? Well, let's just say they didn't come out of the marriage to Lori unscathed, because they're both dead. Her first 2 husbands both died. Her first husband was Joseph Anthony Ryan. He is Lori's daughter Tylee's father. Now, he died of a heart attack in 2018. He was cremated, and his body, well, it can't be exhumed unless you want to see what you can find in dust. But the reason I want to bring it up that he can't be exhumed is because that's happening a lot with Lori and Chad's deceased partners. Next up was Charles Vallow, who was Joshua's father. Joshua, he has special needs. Now, so as I said, Joseph, Lori's first husband, he died of a heart attack in 2018, right? I'm not exactly sure of when Lori and Charles got married, but, well, they didn't waste much time, because by February 2019, they were separated. Now, why did Charles and Lori become estranged? You might be asking. Well, let's just say Lori, she has some beliefs. More specifically, the belief that she is a reincarnated...
He looks like he's getting a handy. He looks very confident.
God that has been sent to Earth to prepare people for Jesus' second coming, which, according to her, is in July 2020, so there's something to look forward to, I guess. Lori is convinced she is eternally married to the Mormon prophet Moroni. Lori told Charles she is a translated being who cannot taste death, sent by God to lead the 144,000 into the millennium. Wasn't it the millennium like 20 years ago?
So that's what she believes. That's what she's here to do. Who the hell is Mike? Can't see the channel. Oh, sorry. I thought I mentioned it. That chapter, it's called. I put a link up. I'll put it up again. Mike's the name of the guy that runs this channel that we're listening to. It's called That Chapter. This is people shouting him out. They like, I guess a lot of people watch him. He does like quick little 20-minute updates on stories like this. So the only other part I want to get to in this video is the podcast thing.
I'll tell you why in a second. But for now, I bet we just read the blurb so we can get an idea of what Time to Warrior Up is all about. Jason Mao of the very popular thewarchapters.com has been speaking to youth and their parents from all over the US about what it means to be a true modern-day warrior for good. Time to Warrior Up is a nationwide movement to become all that we were destined to become in a shifting world that needs great leaders. Of course, what would warriors be without great women of faith and courage? This is why Melanie Gibb and Lori Vallow had the idea to do this podcast featuring powerful women, mothers, youth, and mentors to encourage others along the pathway towards a hopeful future.
Now, just wanting to highlight some women on your podcast is one thing, but when you start calling yourself a god that can't taste death, and you need to lead the new people into the millennium and save them for the second coming of Jesus in July 2020, that's when things probably go off the rails. So that just leaves us with where we're at now, and that is kids are still missing. She's arrested in Hawaii, sitting on $5 million bail, still not telling anybody where the kids are. And that's where the case ends for everybody for now, until there's any other updates. I came across this video when I was looking through it, and it was called Chad Daybell Mischaracterized in the Media. And it's on a channel called Eyes Open with 1,000 subs. They turned their comments off. It's got 150 likes, 400 dislikes. And she says, in this episode, we talk about this lady has a professional working relationship with Chad Daybell and calls out the media and others who are spreading lies and messages of hate. So this woman is one of these people that also has visions. I'm only going to play a second of her. I just want you guys to hear.
Yeah, I saw some stuff coming, but I did not necessarily see the FBI and
Objectively not crazy.
the Rexford police after Chad Daybell.
Right, well that's it. You know, it's not very often someone you know close, their name goes to media, let alone national coverage. And so it's been disheartening for me and kind of sobering to see his...
So these people all follow his writings for the Latter-day Saints. They all follow his prophecies and things that he writes about and talks about, and they're the same people that they also claim to have visions, and they see things as well.
Picture on these news sources, and we know him so well, it's like, something's not adding up. And so
he's a great guy. Great guy. Where's the kids then? Like, that's one thing they'll never answer is like, okay, he's with this woman. They're with 2 kids. They've been missing since September. If he's such a great guy, then why wouldn't he distance himself from the woman that has 2 missing kids? Even if he has nothing to do with it, he would instantly pull himself out of that situation. It's like, listen, she did something with her brother. He got into the relationship with this woman after her husband was killed. You don't take on a woman like that unless you're ready to do some battle.
I need to backtrack a little bit because actually I didn't see it, but I heard it. So there's a difference. Sometimes I see stuff, sometimes I hear it. So after his...
She means like she's having visions or hears things. She didn't see it this time. She heard it. It was beamed into her.
Wife died, and we'll go into this. After his wife died, I had some interesting thought messages come to me.
Thought messages.
Had a few interesting visuals, but sometimes you don't know if it's the light or the dark. You have to discern where the source is.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't understand what she said. I've listened to this 4 times already.
Sometimes I see stuff, sometimes I hear it. So after his wife died, and we'll go into this. After his wife died, I had some interesting thought messages come to me. Had a few interesting visuals, but sometimes you don't know if it's the light or the dark. You have to discern where the source is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if it's a light one or a dark one. You have to discern where the source is. So she's getting messages. They're beaming into her, and they're telling her friend that she knows and the person that she reads is the greatest guy in the world, and she knows because her thought messages were beamed into her.
Right.
Should get her on the stand.
can you briefly go into your history of knowing and working with Chad?
Yeah, I'm not interested in it. Just wanted you guys to know she's got thought messages being beamed in. We're gonna wrap up here pretty soon. I just thought that was a cool story to come and hang out and tell. I'm sure there's other pieces to it that I'm missing, but for a hangout stream, I thought that'd be a nice little story to go through. It has all the different kind of elements of a weird one. Figured it'd be good for the spooky channel to do kind of a first edition of a little hangout on this channel. Very light over here. And we'll do this from time to time. We'll find like a kind of creepy story that's in the mainstream media or that's in international publications that's real big, and if it's got like this element to the spooky side, we'll try to cover it and do a deeper dive into it. And I thought that was one that deserved it because I was reading it, I was like, wow, this shit's kind of interesting. But like I said, one more time, now that we got more people here, Spooky Sunday tomorrow. Usually it's just going to be the Sunday stream. Every once in a while we'll pop on here for a hangout. Unsolved mysteries is the topic that we're going to be doing. I'm going to start doing research onto it tonight and most of it tomorrow. So if anybody has any suggestions for unsolved mysteries, not just the TV show, but just unsolved mysteries in general, just leave a comment underneath this video when it's uploaded, or hit me up on Twitter, hit me up in Discord, any way you can get a hold of me, and I will try to make that happen. I got a few, I pretty much got 5 already. I wrote down the Georgia Guidestones, Boston Paintings Heist, Knights of the Golden Circle, Amelia Earhart, and the Devil's Triangles are 5 that I'm going to get into, but I'm looking for like 5 more, so if you guys want to send any over my way, I'll look into them, and if they're cool enough, I'll add them to the show. Other than that, I appreciate you guys hanging out. That was fun. One Step has a video coming pretty much as probably 8:30, I'm guessing, since I'm done at 8:20 here. So go over to One Step's channel and check them out. I don't know if anybody else here has anything dropping, but if you do, just write it down in the chat right now when and where they can find you. And everybody sub to everybody. We need to be doing that. And everybody else, if you're watching the fight tonight, enjoy it. Hopefully some of you guys I'm talking to during or after the fight will have a little chat about what happened. But other than that, yeah, we're just going to get out of here and make sure to bookmark this channel because we'll be live here tomorrow with Spooky Sunday episode number 17 already. I know it's crazy. We're already up to 17. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. I seriously do. It was very fun just to hang out for, an hour exactly pretty much. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. And as always, I will see you in the next one.